The Nike GT Jump 2 just came out, and I can already tell that they made some changes, but the jump ones were pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. So can this year's model top it? It's only one way to find out. Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today we have a super exciting one with the Nike GT Jump 2. It's a really nice basketball performer. I'm excited to break that down, all the different aspects for it. But first, as we just kind of pointed out in that intro, just a quick shout out to 4D for actually sponsoring this video for us. And you can just click or scan the link here on screen, whichever one, or you can use code SHOEWEAR20 for 20% off of your order at checkout with 4D. There's like amazing benefits like enhanced mental clarity, muscle endurance. We could all probably use a little bit more of both of that. And the flavors are really solid too. Like, it's not powdery or chalky taste whenever you mix it in. So, I mean, thanks again and shout out 4D, of course. Now, let's go ahead and review some shoes. So, this is the Nike Air. I think they took out the Air Zoom. On Nike's account now, it's like just GT Jump 2. The GT stands for greater than as part of that. Like, if you remember back, I think there's 3 models in it. It's the GT Jump, the GT Run, and the GT Cut. The GT Cut and the GT Jump were my favorites out of the performance, so I'm excited to check these out. As far as the looks goes, I showed you a little bit in the first clip, but I mean, I do have the original GT Jump ones over here to my left shoulder. They switched up a little bit. I mean, you can at least tell that from the jump, it's not going to be quite as high of a shoe, which I'm a fan of that. Like, I think it's cool that I don't tend to love the super super high top models, the LeBron 19s and stuff like that. I tend that more mid to low top range. I'm glad they cut it down a little bit this year, and they switched up the look of it too. Like, that's something that I'm a huge fan of, but they didn't do too much. But something I'm a huge fan of is the Eclipse plate that they stuck in the middle there. I thought that was a nice touch. They do that in the Jordan line as well. So I mean, there's some cool designs. There's some cool pieces to the GT Jump 2, but honestly, it's not that flashy of a model. Like, you got the bubble pocket that kind of wraps around the heel. I already pointed out the Eclipse plate, but I like how you got that, like, you can kind of see some of the grooves and the indentions in the foam on the side of the shoe. Like I said, it's not going to be the most like out there eye-catching colorway, but it is going to be one of the better shoes to hoop in. Let's talk about that now. All right, so now we'll go ahead and get into the actual performance side for this GT Jump 2 model. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the cushion. And I mean, the first thing that you can just notice whenever you get the shoe in hand is all the different like cushioning features that they have going on. One quick look at the midsole and you know that like there seems to be a bunch of features, and if that's what you're assuming, you wouldn't be incorrect. These do have 3 doses of Zoom Air, which is just like a bottom layer and an upper layer of 2 4-foot units, and that gives you more bounce off the floor. And then it combines with like a jump plate that's wrapped around like some rubber for some added support and durability for extra spring. And this is kind of more of like the tech specs. Like, these also have some React foam. You can see that like labeled on the midsole, but the cushion is so nice on this model. Playing in the GT Jump, I guess they're the ones now since we're on the 2s. Playing the GT Jump 1s, like, cushion was very solid. Like, getting this shoe in, I mean, I haven't played in a lot of shoes that feel like they're that spring loaded, like they have this much going on. I've been reviewing more basketball shoes, so it's not as uncommon for me, but the first time I played in those, I was like, look at this cushioning setup. They jam-packed it. They did the same thing here, and look, in my opinion, it definitely feels better. Like, the cushion, it's almost like you're walking on an air bubble, and it takes no time to break in. Like, you got a bunch of spring, just like the way Nike pointed it out. One of my favorite cushioning setups out there right now, because the surrounding padding is good. You do have a little bit of a thinner upper that we're about to talk about, but I mean, that's not going to do anything to make them uncomfortable. If anything, it's going to make the shoe a little bit lighter. So cushioning is definitely like a super strong point on this shoe. And then, as always, we look at use our durometer to check out the midsole. These were reading in that like 38.5, 39-ish range. And that's not bad. That's pretty actually average for a basketball shoe. But whenever it comes to the actual cushioning, if we're going to just boil it down and only look at that portion on the GT Jump 2, that's got to get a 5 out of 5 for me. All right, so now we'll go ahead and move on to the next 2 categories we'll look at, which is more like the materials and the support, kind of see how those play. And I talked about it a little bit in the last section, but the upper is somewhat thinner. And I'm not going to act like the GT Jump 1 was like super reinforced and sturdy, but it did feel like it was set up differently. It's not like it was set up differently, and it felt like it was a little bit more like strung together. But this is like a new lightweight design that Nike's using, where the exoskeleton feel uses negative space to make the shoe lightweight, and that's more of like the actual, that is the tech specs of the shoe, because I haven't done a ton of digging on that. All I know is that it was meant to bring the shoe down a little bit in weight, and the GT Jump 2 is going to be weighing 468 grams for a size 10.5. I mean, that's on the lighter side for a high top, and with, like I said, with all the cushioning features that they worked in, I mean, still pretty light in general, and it is lighter than last year. That was one of the main focal points, not by much. I think it was 486 grams on the GT Jump 1s. We're at 468, so just swap those back two numbers. I'll still take it because it's not heavy. We're not talking 500s. We're not talking James Harden and LeBron's leaving out the 20 and stuff like that, so I'm here for it. But with there being a thinner upper, that's where support always kind of comes into play, but you do have some midfoot straps. So if you look into, like, you got some like little white loops that the laces feed through. Tightening those up definitely kind of pulls the entire upper over your foot. And I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you, playing in them for, you know, multiple times now, the upper doesn't move. And that was something I was really testing on my step backs. I wanted to make sure I got a good feel to see if it was going to stretch more, and it just didn't. So I mean, whenever you got a shoe that's pretty light for a mid top and the support checks out, and that's another spot where I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5. I'll give slight pause to the thinner upper, but really another solid spot. As always, we'll wrap it up by looking at the traction, and the pattern is going to be very, very similar to last year. Like basically the exact same. They just switched up a little bit in the middle. I mean, you got like some greater than, that's what I'm calling it, since it's like the GT line. It looks like just these greater than, which is essentially arrows. That's kind of what the actual pattern is, and it's translucent. I like that. But I mean, traction's a spot that the GT Jump 1s were very solid last year. The GT Jump 2, if anything, is going to take that torch and run with it. I think these might honestly play a little bit better. And traction, that's just because the traction's insane. Like I said, that's going to be similar to the ones. I was like almost tripping in these things because like they were so sticky. I mean, they're honestly not that squeaky though. We did our squeeze test on them, didn't make very much noise, so I mean, there's at least that. But the grooves are actually, this is something I noticed, the grooves are pretty deep, so the dust doesn't collect quite as bad on them, so they would stay stickier longer. The traction was super solid. I got to go 5 out of 5 because whenever you're not dealing with all the sliding around, I'm kind of a fan of that. I'm not going to say it's a great outdoor model though, because I'm not. The grooves feel deep, but not super durable. So just keep that in mind. $180 too. Depends on if you want to take that outdoors. But to wrap it up with the sizing, you did have about a thumb's width left over for the length. As far as the width, I'd say it's pretty standard. It looks a little bit narrow, but it doesn't feel all that narrow on foot. So basically standard sizing on that. But I mean, overall, the Nike GT Jump 2, I'm going to just tell you, it sprung to the very top of my list of shoes to hoop in from 2023. I just wrapped that up like a month or two ago, where I think like I had like the Jaws and the Tatum ones were on there, some like really solid shoes. These just jumped the line. They are so nice all the way around. The cushion and traction are two things that have to be amazing. As far as support goes, honestly, I don't weigh that much, so sometimes it doesn't affect me, but whenever we're reviewing the whole thing for an actual basketball shoe, I like to include that in. With the thinner upper, they said that negative space exoskeleton, look, it plays really well. This is my favorite shoe to hoop in right now, so if you're looking for, are they going to be worth the what is it, $180? Look, if you like good basketball shoes, go get it there. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. Feel free to throw us a follow or a sub if you like this video. If you're interested in buying these shoes and you want to support our channel, just click the link here on screen, or we have links down below or in our bio. Feel free to check that out. But that wraps up this review. Until next time, I'm Lane from Shoewear. Peace.